Hey, if you look up RWBY fanfiction, I'm not extremely far from the top. That actually makes me very happy. We're getting somewhere, and if you look up Titanfall fanfiction, I am at the top. So yay. But anyways, chapter 33, Grid Decisions. The day after, it was the Angels' turn to fight in the first round of the tournament. With Demon still not having returned, to say that the match for the Angels didn't go well would be an understatement. It was just about as good as an ice cream in the middle of the desert, even if they did end up winning. They were pit up against Team RWBY, people they could have handled with all their years of combat, but the Angels only really had 3 people fighting. Tempest was a tad distracted during the fight, his thoughts being focused elsewhere, most specifically on Yang. No one really knew why, but he had woken up early in the morning, and when he was at breakfast, he left the second Yang arrived. He had stayed training for the fight most of the day, but when he began, he didn't seem to care anymore. The Angels started to fight well, Yeager immediately running up to the top of a mountain that was in the terrain behind them, while Josh and Marcus began distracting them so that Yeager could get a shot in. But when Tempest began running, he went off after Yeager, rendering his weapon completely useless. "What the hell?" Yeager exclaimed, not stopping as he lied low and set up the bipod on his DMR and began firing at the other team, their members being distracted enough so that he could continuously land shots. "I need to ask you something," Tempest began, not bothering to even contribute to their fighting. "Yang said something and I have no idea what it means." "What? You're asking me this now?" "Well, it's been bothering me for a while, and I think you're probably the most informed on the subject, being a ladies' man and all." "Dude, have you seen me? I barely even look at women at all." "But if you need to talk, then fine, but not now," Yeager replied, casually reloading his DMR after running through his first clip. Tempest just ignored him and continued anyway. "She said that she wanted to continue the relationship, and I have no idea what the hell that means." "I don't know!" Yeager shouted, reloading once again and beginning to fire even more furiously. "Well, do you have any idea?" "No, get into the damn fight!" 2 buzzers sounded, both being from Marcus and Josh. "Shit!" Yeager shouted, flipping up the bipod and jumping away just as a hailstorm of bullets from Gamble Shroud and Crescent Res peppered the rock where he stood. Tempest didn't even seem to care as he ran through the bullets and dove behind the rock Yeager was behind. "Well, who do you think I should ask?" "Just ask her, you dumbass!" That might actually work." Tempest jumped out from behind the rock and sprinted down the mountainside, giving Yeager the opportunity to fire upon their opponents and track them long enough so that Tempest could get within earshot of the blazing dragon. "Yang, what did you mean by what you said last night?" he shouted over the din of gunfire, Yang still firing concussion shells at him. "What? What do you mean?" "You said you wanted to continue the relationship, but I don't know what you mean," shouted Tempest, diving behind a rock to avoid Gamble Shroud being shot towards him. "I meant I wanted to go on another date, you dumbass!" she practically screamed, turning a bit red. "Oh," he replied, finally realizing. "Well, in this case, I hope this doesn't ruin the mood." Tempest jumped out of cover with renewed vigor and fired off 2 Archer missiles, RWBY nearly dying of shock. RWBY quickly dashed out of the way, Yang diving away, although Blake chose a different course of action. She sliced in a diagonal line in front of her, and the rockets were cut in half, detonating a fair distance away from them. Tempest didn't stop and began firing his 2 shotguns at RWBY, the girl having a hard time dodging the shots. Although they were interrupted by a charging Yang, Tempest began firing behind her, trying to distract her but not activate her semblance. He was slightly distracted to see Blake jumping up the side of the mountain. "Yeager, watch out! Blake is coming up the side of the mountain." "Pfft," It's fine. They're only women. And then the entire stadium stopped. Yang immediately stopped literally an inch away from punching Tempest, her head turning 180 degrees to look directly at Jaeger. Tempest, you don't mind if I kill him, do you? Go ahead, he replied. Yang shouting a command to Blake, and she threw down Gamble's shroud on the rope. Yang grabbing onto it and being thrown up the mountainside straight towards Jaeger. He didn't even bother moving, knowing there was no point to even try. And then he was launched right out of the arena, after Yang punched him in the groin. Every man in the audience cringed, while every woman just cheered. The buzzer sounded, and Yang landed on top of the mountain, hair glowing with anger. RWBY took the distraction, being a bit too innocent for her own good, and not understanding why everyone was cringing, and sliced diagonally at the back of his legs, knocking them from beneath him, and following up with another cut across his chest. The final buzzer sounded as Tempest's aura went below 15, and the crowd cheered, celebrating RWBY's victory. The angels hesitantly walked off stage, massaging their various body parts, except for Jaeger, who was carried off by Tempest. Juniper, Kira, and Rosaline with the two teams at the entrance, and they began chatting. Josh was sharpening his hand-and-a-half sword when Rosaline came up to him. Josh, do you have any idea where Demon's been? Sorry, but I haven't seen him since the fight yesterday. RWBY overheard the conversation and jumped over to interrupt. He's staying in the forest after he got a bit overwhelmed by finding out about his semblance. I don't know why he hasn't returned yet. Josh nearly lost himself when he realized what it was about. Oh, I think you know he's down there. It's nothing to worry about, but I should probably go down and get him. How will you find him? RWBY asked. Well, looking in the place where everything else isn't is usually the best course of action, he replied, before walking off, heading for the landing pads to get down to the Emerald Forest. Back down to our badass protagonist. Well, this is awkward. Demon was currently sitting in the middle of an intense staring session with a Beowulf that was lying down next to him on the ground. The Beowulf was only a pup. It would even perhaps a month old. Nothing that would actually prove a threat at all. But it was still the strangest thing Demon had ever seen, apart from whenever Calazar took control. It made no indications that it was going to attack, but didn't seem fazed in the slightest with Demon staring at it, as he continued to sit there staring, waiting for something to happen. He did something that would have made him faint if he didn't know better. It licked his mask, then closed its eyes and went back to sleep next to him. What the hell is going on? Demon then took the chance to look around, and immediately felt a lot more unsafe where he was. He was surrounded by Grimm. There was an entire pack of Beowulfs that were there, Ursai, and a large elder Deathstalker, covered in moss and thick armor, that was laying around the clearing, with Demon being in the center. He stopped breathing, fearing that if he did, then they would immediately begin mauling him to death. His heart sped up to 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he tried to think of an answer to the question and why they were doing this. Calazar, get out here, now!
What do you want? I was in the middle of a nice dream of drowning the entire town. What do you want?
What do you mean, what do I want? Look where we are.
Oh, man, what's the problem?
You can't see a single problem with this.
No. They aren't doing to do anything.
I pray that you would enlighten me as to how you know this.
Don't you remember what happened in the forest the last time?
Yeah, you saved me and Yang. Oh, now I get it. Aren't these the guys you told to piss off?
More or less. I guess they still think I'm the Alpha, although I don't know why they aren't attacking you. Maybe they can sense we're linked.
You never make sense. Well, will they follow if I leave?
How should I know? I just know that they listen to whatever you say.
They can understand me?
Well, not you exactly. Give me a second.
What are you doing?
Just talk, okay?
Demon grumbled, clearing his throat, talking as he would normally. His voice wasn't human. It sounded the same as if a Beowulf was howling and yipping. His voice sounded warped and weird. Hello? He said. You're gonna be having a heart attack, but the pup seemed to understand him. The Beowulf was lying next to him, yipping, and licked his ear, jumping a few feet away and sitting on its hind legs, tongue lolling out the side of its mouth. The others seemed to be wearier and approached with mute curiosity, wondering how they could understand this human. The Deathstalker on the other side of the clearing seemed to be the only Grim that had heard him, unscaled over, so that it was right behind the pup, and was staring at Demon through 12 beady red eyes that spoke through its mandibles, strange clicking sound coming as they rasped against the chitin of its carapace. The voice produced sounded almost feminine and motherly. Human, your appearance leaves much to be desired in the eyes of the pack. Yet your soul and voice prove to be one that is most fit to lead us. Which should we believe in, the false visage of your frail body, or the strong soul which we can sense throughout you? Speak now, or you will be deemed a false pack leader, and will die by my claw. Dean was a bit taken aback by the idea that he could actually understand them, yet he continued anyway. I cannot say that I am fit to lead you, nor can I say that I wouldn't be fit. I have no sense as to how I became the leader of your pack, and I do not know why you would not kill me outright. I wish to know why I would be your alpha. The Deathstalker seemed to be vexed by his words, clicking its mandibles together a few times in thought before responding. Your soul, it is not meant for that of your kind. The essence is all wrong. I sense it to be corrupted from that of its original form, being tainted with the darkness, like that of a demon kind, like my kin. You bested our previous alpha in combat, although we did not notice your link to our kind until you spoke to us and informed us of your protection over the human kin. We left you by your own wishes and sensed you in our territory again, thinking you had wished to return to your command, although you seemed to be in a deep sleep. So we left you to your thoughts. Okay then. I still don't see why you think I'm your alpha. The Deathstalker seemed to get continually more and more frustrated with each passing moment. Spat back reply. Your besting of our previous alpha, by right, made you our alpha. But we wish to know if you would be worthy, given your relations with those we feed upon. Do you find our kind in the hatred of your mind like those of your species? Well, I guess not. You haven't eaten me yet, so I guess I should give you a chance. So what would I have to do as your alpha? Demon asked, sounding a bit like this was a job interview. The pack grows restless without our leadership, refusing to follow my orders, as I am only the beta. She reached towards Demon and grabbed him in the pincers and pulled him towards her. I am asking as the dying wishes of this pack, of which I have been the very instigator of. Your soul is more powerful than any of my own kind, and with your power at our helm, we could once again be at our true glory. If becoming your leader means leading you against the humans, I must decline. I refuse to murder innocents. The sucker growled low, tightening her grip on Demon. You mistake our incentives, human. We are not all the mindless animals that your kind thinks of us to be. We are not at all touched by the will of she who corrupts. We simply need a leader, or fear that my pack will turn to her as their leading purpose and destroy all that I have worked to build. So you don't want to kill people. We attacked you and your friends because we saw the slaughter of our kin by the female in gold, and our alpha called an attack on her. We obeyed blindly, and that is when you killed one of our elders. He changed focus to you, though through the last seconds of his life. Let me get this straight. You want me to be your alpha just so the idiots will listen to me, so that they will listen to you, because you just want to be better than the other Grimm. I do not see why it is taking you so long to find the point of this, but yes, that is what I wish for you to do. Okay then. I just want to let you know that I probably won't be able to keep you safe if other humans come your way. I can't stay with you for long. We just wish for a purpose, your majesty. I like the sound of that. Calzar, what do you think?
Well, having a force at your side could prove useful in the future. It would be easy to keep them out of sight from the others, as you already have spent most of your time running away from them, and they don't seem to want to kill you. Blush is hot.
Dude, that's disgusting.
I've never complained about your relationship with that ugly girl. So why are you complaining when I comment on how someone looks?
Just, you, never talk about this again. Okay then, I accept. The Deathstalker clicked her mandibles in glee and released him, putting her stinger right down on the ground and telling him to get onto it. He instantly stood on the appendage and was lifted high into the air. He nearly lost his balance, having to kneel down and hold on to steady himself before standing up again. What do you want me to do? He asked the Deathstalker. You are the Alpha. Prove it. Demon smiled. He knew exactly what to do. He pulled out his wingman and pulled the trigger once, laughing at just how about every Grimm jumped and nearly shit themselves as their attention was immediately set on Demon. Oi! You may remember me from before, but if you don't, then I'm your new alpha. I may not look the part, but I'm the best you've got, and I know how we can get this pack to the best in the whole damn continent. First order of business is I want you to avoid any contact with humans or faunus until I say so. Most of the Grimm began roaring angrily at Demon, smashing their fists into the ground in protest, the more zealous waiting for a reason. The only reason I'm going to give is because we aren't exactly the biggest pack out there right now. So if we're going to change that, starting soon, we're going to need to go around and get some more for the ranks. And until then, I don't want anyone dying for an unnecessary cause. There's a few more that were protesting. There were still a few that were protesting, although they were being silenced by the biggest Ursa in the pack, slamming his fist into the ground and roaring, earning a fearful look from just about every other Grimm. Keep talking, human, it spoke, still eyeing off the others. Still eyeing off the ones that were causing a racket. So I know you may still be pissed off that I am human, but I can assure you that I have no grudge against you unless you give me a reason, then I won't. For now, I want you to move north until you come to a sheer cliff and stay near there. Make sure not to be in the sight of any hunters. I'll meet you there soon, but until then, he turned to the Deathstalker and whispered, "What's your name?" "I am Raxanaru." He turned back to the whole pack. Araxa here will be in charge. If you have a problem with that, then I'll let you have a little talk with the muscle and spikes over there. He finished, gesturing to the Ursa, who growled in agreement. With that done, Demon was let down by Araxa. And brushed himself off, glad with how it went down. The entire pack had clumped together, Demon seeing that it couldn't really be anywhere over 100 here, something that it would change soon enough. Araxa moved off, ordering them around so that they were ready to move. Although the Ursa from before moved over to Demon. He was about a head taller than most of the other Ursa, and had spikes with red tips that were protruding from the bone-white armor that covered most of the body. Human. I am Reach, and I served under the last Alpha as his enforcer. To tell the truth, I am hesitant to accept your command, but your soul speaks leagues about you, and I am so far impressed. I will stand by your side and ensure your commands are followed to the letter. Good to hear coming from you. Look after Araxa, okay, would you? I don't trust the others to follow her orders enough, so that my plans will go through. Your will is mine, your majesty. The talk was interrupted by Beowulf sprinting into the clearing and howling loudly, causing the other Grimm to immediately stop what they were doing. Araxa clicked her mandibles together, and the rest of the Grimm sprinting off into the tree line, heading north. She called over to Riksha. She called over to Reach and followed as well. Araxa staying behind to shout at Demon. My Majesty, a human flyer is coming this way, so we must leave. Thank you for everything you have done, and wish you luck. Farewell. Araxa quickly turned. A human flyer is coming this way, so we must leave. I thank you for everything you have done, and wish you luck. Farewell. Araxa quickly turned around and scuttled off into the trees, just as the bullhead came into view, and began to land on the ground. Before he even touched the ground, Demon saw the angels jump out and sprint towards him, looking warily at where the Deathstalker ran off to. You alright? Asked Josh, walking up to Demon as he pointed his carbine into the trees, finger hovering over the trigger. Demon felt something change within him just before he tried to talk, happy to find that when he did, it was back to normal. Yeah, we should get going, Demon quickly answered, ignoring him and walking to where the bullhead was and waiting for it to land. The angels following while still holding their weapons at the ready. Demon just casually waited until it landed and was a bit hesitant to step in when he saw Kira and Rosalind sitting in the seats near the cockpit. He did so anyways, ensuring to sit as close to the door as the angels got in. Demon happy, being the Tempest had sat next to him. What happened? Tempest asked as Josh radioed the pilot to begin liftoff. The bullhead began its slow ascent. Nothing too noteworthy, Demon replied, looking out the cargo bay door and smiling as he saw the flashes of gold from the stinger of Araxa. Nothing at all. This is going to be awesome. So I got some actual editing software with my birthday money, so you don't have to look at that goddamn watermark anymore. Anyways, I'm not going to read the Fury of Heaven and Hell just yet. It's such a long fan fiction. I love the hell out of these stories, and I love reading them, but I can't read that one yet. It's way too long. The chapters are way too long, like 30 minutes each, so I'm just gonna read my fan fiction. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Sorry this is super late.